Tell me about your physical pain beginning in childhood.
Sure. Starting, I think, around age 8, what I first remember is having an achy back. And it just drove me crazy. It wasn't a sharp pain, but it just always felt like it needed to be stretched, or I wanted to like jab a knife in it. And my parents took me, they were so good. They took me to doctors, they took me chiropractors, physical therapists, MRIs, x-rays. They even took me to a children's hospital in another state, but no doctor could figure out what was wrong with me. And I think some of them even insinuated that I was making it up for attention. And then I also I didn't realize it then, but I have memories now that prior to the age of 8, I remember being able to do things like ski and ice skate and swim. And afterwards, I was never able to do any of those things. And we just talked it up to me being klutzy and uncoordinated. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't ice skate. I was a really bad swimmer, couldn't roller skate. But again, we just thought I was a klutz. And then what started to happen as I got older is every few years I got a different symptom. So the achiness in the back traveled to my neck, so I started to get a really achy neck. Then I started to get a really bad stomach. And again, just doctor after doctor, no one knew what was wrong with me. And I think, that may have been what led to all of my retreat into fantasy world. In the fantasy worlds, I had real problems that people believed, but no one was really believing or at least understanding my physical pain. And I was just sort of told that I needed to learn to live with it. But as I got older, it got much worse. I noticed that my eye was starting to droop a little bit. And then after law school, so flash forward to about age 25, 26, I had a hard time speaking. My vocal cords, I used to be able to be really loud and project, but I started noting that my voice was really hoarse. And that's when doctors started to take me a little bit more seriously, but not really. They still couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. So I did my own medical research. My brother was a doctor at that time, and I borrowed his passcodes to get online and look at all the medical journals. And eventually I became convinced that I had this disease called myasthenia gravis. And that's an autoimmune disease where the body attacks the muscles and makes the muscles weak. And no doctor thought I had it because I could pass all their 5-minute tests in their office where they make you walk from here to across the room. They said I didn't appear weak to them, but I insisted that they test me for it. And sure enough, all the blood tests were positive, and then they did a scan of my thymus gland, which showed some inflammation, and eventually they decided that I did have myasthenia gravis. I was given medication, I went to physical therapy, I had surgery, and about 7 or 8 years after the surgery, I was in the best physical and mental health of my life. And I do firmly believe that doctors just don't, they learn about the most serious cases. So every doctor didn't think I could have myasthenia gravis because they were used to people who had that disease who couldn't walk at all or who are on a respirator. But I think mild to moderate cases often really get dismissed. And what I think is interesting too is doctors in medical school are taught that myasthenia gravis doesn't cause pain, it just causes weakness. And I didn't go, at age 8, I didn't go and say, oh, my legs are weak. I said my back hurt. Any physical therapist can tell you that if you've got weak legs, your back is going to compensate and hurt. And then this is where the chat rooms go on. I went on to help me with the diagnosis. I went on myasthenia gravis support groups, and they all had the exact same pains that I did. Headaches from the eye muscle trying to hold my eye open, backaches because of my weak legs. So this is another case, I think, where the chat rooms were ahead of the doctors.